अस्सलाम वालेकुम। प्रोग्राम एम्बेसी रोड में खुश आमदीद। नाज़रीन, आज इस प्रोग्राम में हमारे मेहमान हैं पाकिस्तान में USAID के डायरेक्टर। हम उनसे बातचीत करेंगे कि USAID पाकिस्तान में क्या करती रही है और अब क्या कर रही है। USAID पाकिस्तान में पिछली कई दहाइयों से मुतहर्रिक है, फ़ाल है और इसने बड़े काम किए हैं तरक्याती, और पाकिस्तान में कई मंसूबे तालीम में, सेहत के शोबे में, पानी के शोबे में और बिजली की पैदावार के शोबे में कई मंसूबे मुकम्मल किए हैं, और ये सिलसिला जो है कई दहाइयों से जारी है। हमारी जो आज की गुफ्तगू है उसमें हम तफसीलात पूछेंगे कि USAID अब तक क्या करती रही है और उसके कोई फ्यूचर प्लान भी हैं पाकिस्तान के लिए। यही आज हमारा मौजूद गुफ्तगू होगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस इन दिस प्रोग्राम। The USAID has been active in Pakistan for the last many decades. Do you think it has contributed concretely, positively towards the social development of Pakistan?
Well, first, let me thank you for your kind invitation to appear on your show. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you.
And very happy to talk
Thanks
about
so much.
USAID's work. I'm very pleased to say that the work that USAID has done here in Pakistan has had a substantial and long-standing impact in a variety of sectors. Working together, the United States and Pakistan have many accomplishments. Those accomplishments are ongoing, and I'm confident that we'll see even more accomplishments in the future.
But specifically, USAID has been focusing on which field? Education, health, water sector, or agriculture, or energy?
Well, we've been focused on many sectors. Certainly energy is a major sector given the energy deficit here in Pakistan. Agriculture is a main priority for us and for the government of Pakistan because so many Pakistanis are employed in the agriculture sector. We're working on economic reform to improve Pakistan's economic performance and grow its economy. There's education, of course, there's health, and there's humanitarian assistance that's provided in the aftermath of natural disasters, or, for example, the help that we've been providing to those displaced by the military operations in the tribal areas.
etc.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So we really are involved in quite a lot here in Pakistan.
When we speak of education, have you been building schools, or you have been training teachers, or you have been building infrastructure in the education sector?
Well, I'm proud to say that we've been doing all of those things. For example, USAID has built or rehabilitated over 1,000 schools here in Pakistan.
All provinces?
Exactly, yes. We have trained thousands of teachers. We have a nationwide reading program that's helping over 1 million Pakistani boys and girls to either learn to read or to improve their reading skills. We've provided about 15,000 scholarships for Pakistanis to attend universities here in Pakistan. And of course, we're very proud to say that the Fulbright program, which is the largest U.S. government Fulbright exchange program in the world, and we're very proud about the way that that reflects the importance of our relationship with Pakistan, but also the importance that we place on education, including higher education.
But when it comes to training of teachers, these teachers are trained here in Pakistan, or they are sent abroad, or they are sent to United States of America for further training?
Well, they're mostly trained here in Pakistan. For example, one of the things that we've been doing is constructing faculty of education buildings at universities across Pakistan and providing them with the resources to improve teachers' education. And that's already having a significant impact. Having a cadre of dedicated and well-paid and well-prepared teachers is very important to the future of basic education here in Pakistan, and real progress is being made in that area.
You have been investing a lot of money or funds in the education sector. but are you monitoring the impact of that? I mean, how useful that investment has been, or it's going down the drain? What's the reaction?
You know what? We at USAID are actually required to measure the results of the investments. We have a lot of parties that are interested in what we do. For example, the government of Pakistan wants to make sure that the money is being spent wisely and that we're achieving results. But our own government expects the same of us. Whether it's the administration in Washington or members of Congress, they want to make sure that we're achieving real results. So what we do is we have a method of monitoring and evaluation that enables us to look at a given situation and to be able to measure results. It could be getting the number of children who are back in school or improved reading scores. So yes, we very much keep track of the results that we're achieving.
Right. And the monitoring and evaluation system, is it giving you an encouraging response that this money is being used and it is producing the desired results?
Yes. What we do is when we find that something isn't working, we make adjustments. And that's one of the really most important factors when we are monitoring projects, because development is an art more than a science.
Yes.
And we do things that work and sometimes we do things that don't work, and we need to adjust. And when the data doesn't look good, we make an adjustment. And certainly for something like education, it's very complicated. It's not always easy to measure results, but even in the United States, we have our challenges with our education system. But it's something where we learn from experience and we have to keep at it. And I'm convinced that here in Pakistan, if we're persistent and we stay in there, we're going to continue to see good results.
And this process of spending on education, in the field of education, training teachers, building infrastructures, etc., it will continue in the future as well?
Well, I think what will happen is that as we move into the future, we will have to make adjustments based on the budget that we get from Washington. We will need to make adjustments based on the priorities of the Pakistani government. So what we're doing now, possibly we would continue to do that into the future. It's also possible that at some point in the future, we would be doing different types of education projects.
Coming to the health sector, what the USAID has done in Pakistan, because health sector is in shambles in this country. There is a huge criticism from Pakistanis that the government, this government and the previous governments have neglected the health sector, and not much is being done to improve the health of the people at large.
Well, there's no doubt that the health statistics here in Pakistan lag behind the country's neighbors. Many of the statistics, particularly maternal and infant mortality, are not good, and they need to be improved. And that's why at USAID we have invested millions of dollars in the health sector, not only nationwide, but also significantly in Sindh province. And what we're working on is, in particular, providing services to women and children to make sure that they're getting the basic health care that they need, so mothers don't die during childbirth, so that infants don't die right after childbirth, or children die before the age of 5. And we're doing that in a variety of ways. Again, infrastructure. We've renovated 2 wards at the Jinnah Hospital in Karachi. There's the new state-of-the-art hospital in Jacobabad. We've constructed or rehabilitated other health clinics, but just as importantly, training health workers, particularly health workers who can reach women and children in the rural areas, in places like North Sindh. We've helped to provide services to about 6 million Pakistanis, almost all women and children. We also work at the national level, helping the Ministry of Health to create a system of managing medicine. For example, cold chain storage, making sure that children are getting vaccinated. And we're making progress. I mean, what you said in the beginning is true. There's a long way to go. For example, there are too many children here in Pakistan who aren't getting the basic set of vaccinations. That needs to change. I think the Pakistani government acknowledges that they need to do more and to improve its performance when it comes to health. But I'm confident that working together, we're making progress and that we're going to continue to make progress.
Your focus seems to be the province of Sindh. Is there a special reason for that?
Again, these are projects that were negotiated years ago. But although it's true that USAID does a lot in Sindh, we also do a lot of work in Punjab, particularly in agriculture. For example, just last month, I went to Lahore to close out a very successful dairy project where, working with Pakistani dairy farmers, USAID was able to introduce new modern methods of managing dairy farms and increasing the production of Pakistani cows. And also we've worked with Pakistani horticulture to help farmers not only improve their product, but also to have their product exported to places like Malaysia and Indonesia. And that's a real breakthrough for Pakistan to be able to export its agricultural products beyond the Gulf to Southeast Asia. We also work in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. We work in the tribal areas. In fact, USAID has, over the last 7 or 8 years, invested about $1 billion each in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the tribal areas. So our development program truly is nationwide.
Right. When it comes to agriculture, there is a perception in Pakistan. Some experts believe that there's a huge water mismanagement in Pakistan, or water is being wasted and it is not being used judiciously, wisely and productively. So is there a program by USAID to provide training in water management?
Well, you're absolutely right. As I like to say, Pakistan doesn't have a water problem, it has a water management problem. And too much water is lost as it flows from the Himalayas. But we've been working on that with our hydroelectric projects. For example, when we constructed the Gomalzam Dam in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, I think it's on the border of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and North Waziristan, in addition to producing electricity, what this dam does is it helps to capture and better manage the water so that the local farmers can use that water for their crops. And we do this in many of our hydropower projects. They have a dual purpose. On the one hand, they help to provide electricity, but on the other hand, they help to manage water better. So we are working on that, but unfortunately, the problem is going to become ever more serious in the future. And I know that the national and provincial governments here are concerned about managing the country's water resources better.
But is there any, and is USAID contemplating, thinking to do a training program to our people who are concerned with water management?
Well, we're not doing that right now, but that could be something that we do in the future.
Right. And in the agriculture sector, you mentioned exports to Malaysia and other countries. So have you been able to give training to these people who are involved in the export of the fruits like mango and other products?
Yes, we have been able to give them training. And as I mentioned earlier, because so many Pakistanis work in agriculture, I believe about 40% of the workforce is in labor force. It's so important to improve productivity and to promote exports. And helping to facilitate that, including through training, is a very important part of our program. And let me add this, I have traveled the world, India, Haiti, those are two countries with great mangoes, but I'm going to tell you right now that Pakistan has the best mangoes. And I want to see Pakistan export ever more of those mangoes because their farmers
Very delicious.
they should be getting a good price
Yes.
for those mangoes.
Thank you. We'll take a short break.
Okay.
नाज़रीन एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं. ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम अपनी गुफ्तगू का ये सिलसिला हम जारी रखेंगे. USAID के डायरेक्टर जॉन ग्रॉक हमसे गुफ्तगू कर रहे हैं. वो बता रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान में वो किस तरह की सरगर्मियाँ कर रहे हैं, पानी के शोबे पाकिस्तान में क्या कर रही. You spoke about the energy sector. Energy is a crisis sector in Pakistan, and Pakistan is doing a lot of efforts to produce electricity from various sources. What way the USAID is helping out the government of Pakistan or the people of Pakistan to produce more electricity?
You're right. It is energy is a crisis here, and it's been a very high priority for USAID. We've invested in recent years about $1 billion in Pakistan's energy sector, and we've been working with the government of Pakistan in a variety of ways to improve the supply of electricity. One way has been to put more electricity on the national grid, and we do that by constructing or rehabilitating power plants. Hydroelectric dams, for example, I mentioned Gomal Zam.
Satapara.
Exactly. Satapara, thank you, is another one. We've been working in rehabilitating power generation systems. Last year I was out in Muzaffarnagar in Punjab with Chief Minister Shehbaz Sharif to inaugurate the reopening of the power plant at Muzaffarnagar. We've rehabilitated the plant in Jamshoro as well. We've been working with clean energy as well, including wind and solar. But putting more energy on the grid in and of itself is not sufficient. Pakistan needs more and better transmission lines to be able to bring the energy from where it's being generated to the distribution
where it
points.
is consumed.
Exactly. And then, so we've been working with transmission lines as well, but we've also been working with the distribution companies to help them install more modern management and use modern technology to deliver the electricity to Pakistan's consumers. In recent years, USAID has helped Pakistan put almost 3,000 more megawatts on its national grid. That's providing a reliable electricity to almost 30 million Pakistanis. Now, having said that, it's not enough. There's still load shedding, there are still blackouts. You know it, your
Yes,
audience knows
everybody
it.
knows.
But
Yeah.
progress is, it's important to note that progress is being made. And this is one of the parts of our portfolio that I am the most proud of, because energy touches everything here in Pakistan. Whether a business can grow, whether a child can do his or her homework at night with light, whether a hospital can operate, how can it do so without electricity? So it's so important, but we really are making progress.
Are you doing something in Tarbela? Because we heard that the capacity to produce more electricity from Tarbela Dam is also being enhanced. So
Yeah, I think
are you contributing something?
Yes, I think in Karbala and Mangla, we're upgrading the generators.
Right. And when it comes to solar energy and the wind energy, has the USAID done something to increase electricity from this source?
We have been working, for example, in the Jinpur wind farm in Sindh. We've been working on the solar energy in Punjab province, helping to get the electricity onto transmission lines into the national grid. You know, this is a real strong point for Pakistan. When we think of energy, we think of petroleum, we think of hydropower because we know of the great water resources that Pakistan has. But given the climate here, huge potential with solar and wind. You know, solar in Punjab and in other parts of the country, but wind in Sindh because
and
of the great...
Balochistan as well.
Exactly, and Balochistan as well. And to be able to exploit those resources without making pollution. and to be able to exploit those resources without having to import petroleum is it's a great opportunity for Pakistan, and I'm glad that it's taking advantage of that opportunity.
But is there any program to train or sensitize the Pakistani people concerned to switch from the coal and oil-based energy to these areas, solar energy and wind energy?
Well, USAID is not involved. I mean, that's a very good question, but USAID is not involved in that type of a public communications campaign.
And you intend to increase or build the capacity of the existing dams or power plants, or you want to invest more in this sector, energy sector?
I'm confident that this is going to continue to be a high priority for both the United States and the government of Pakistan. And there really is a lot more work that needs to be done.
And the other areas where USAID might focus in the days to come, where you think that Pakistani nation or people need help, besides education and health and power sector, agriculture?
Well, I'm very excited about the work that we've been doing in a sector that we call economic growth. And that is focusing on those aspects of the economy where Pakistan needs to improve or where it has a comparative advantage. And I'd like to give you one example of that. We have the Pakistan Private Investment Initiative. And this is an initiative where USAID put up about $72 million, and 3 investment funds that we're working with were able to solicit matching funds in the same amount, $72 million, from private sector investors. And we've pooled those resources together in these 3 investment funds for the purpose of making investments in growth sectors here in Pakistan. And earlier this year, the first such investments were being made in the energy sector, in the education sector, in the pharmaceutical sector, because bilateral assistance alone will not help Pakistan to develop. We've got to get the private sector more involved. And there are private sector companies that want to invest in Pakistan, including in places like the United Arab Emirates and elsewhere in the Gulf. There's a lot of interest in investing from the Pakistani diaspora in the United States. It's a question of bringing people together, addressing the concerns that they may have about investing in Pakistan, but there's a lot of money out there. And so we need to bring that private sector money here into Pakistan because we need it to help the economy grow.
Economic growth, when you talk about economic growth, I've been hearing from experts that Pakistan needs restructuring of its institutions which are dealing with the economy, and reforms are required, infrastructural reforms. Are you working on that area also?
Well, yes, we provide assistance, for example, to the Ministry of Commerce. We're trying to help the ministry with its efforts to enhance and improve regional trade. We're working with the Privatization Commission to help the federal government here enact its agenda to privatize certain state enterprises because we know that they'll be better off in private hands.
Making losses.
Exactly. So, the government here knows that there needs to be restructuring, and we're working with the government on it. Again, this is something that won't happen overnight. But the good news is that there's a recognition that there needs to be a reform, and working together, we're going to get there.
Right. The private sector, when you talk about private sector's participation in the economic growth of Pakistan, are you involved with certain private sector companies or people or entrepreneurs in this country?
Oh yes, in many different ways. We've been training entrepreneurs. In fact, the broader U.S. government has been involved in training entrepreneurs, including women entrepreneurs. But we work with a variety of private sector companies. For example, in the agriculture sector in Sindh, there's Nestle, for example. What we try to do is to link the farmers up with private sector companies, because these private sector companies are interested in particularly the high quality agriculture products that Pakistani farmers produce, to get them to market. So there's a common interest. So we work with the private sector on that, but also, for example, we've been working with Microsoft and Cisco, the computer giants, in training young Pakistanis in information technology, to give them the skills to help grow Pakistan's nascent IT industry. In fact, it's my understanding that IT has been a real area of growth here in Pakistan, and it's very promising as a future engine of economic growth. I've noticed that a lot of young Pakistanis are very computer savvy.
Yes, they are.
And the country needs to take advantage of that.
So youth, 63%, according to some statistics, 63% of our population comprises of young people, ranging from age 17 to 35. So USAID's focus is the youth of Pakistan. One area is the IT sector. Any other area where you could do something to improve the skills and capacity of young people?
As I mentioned earlier, we're working in a variety of sectors, and almost everything that we do touches young people. For example, in our energy portfolio, we train the electricity workers, the men and women who repair the transmission lines and the electricity towers. Many of those workers are young. Many of the farmers with whom we're working are young. And certainly in education, not only at the basic level, but the university scholarships that we provide, they're young people. You're absolutely right. The youth are the future of Pakistan, and they need to be a special focus for the work that we do here.
And providing some training to these young people in various fields, like, so they are able to earn their bread and butter. And besides education, they need skills.
I agreed. And that's why, again, energy, agriculture, they require discrete skills to be able to serve the people of Pakistan and to raise the value of the work that they're doing.
All right. So, and the role of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, is very important, very vital. They have been playing a role in the growth of Pakistan's economy. Do you focus on that area also?
Yes. In fact, a large proportion of our funding is devoted to Pakistani NGOs. They play a very important role in our program because they are the entities that are on the ground, that know the community, that are working with the people in the community. We need to listen to them. And in many instances, they're the best organizations to actually deliver the assistance that we're providing. So you're absolutely right. And in addition to working with these organizations, these local NGOs, in many instances, we help to build their capacity. We provide them training, for example, in financial management or in managing an organization, human resources, so that they can sustain and grow and play an ever more important role, particularly in rural areas.
In the local bodies area, Pakistan has now established a local body sector also to govern people at the lower echelon of society. Any program to impart training to this leadership at the local level or at the lower echelon of the society?
Well, right now we're focusing on that type of capacity development at the national and the provincial level. But I can envision that in the future that we could be providing such assistance.
Thank you. We'll take another short break.
Okay.
नाज़रीन एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं. ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हमारी गुफ्तगू पाकिस्तान में USAID के डायरेक्टर जनाब जॉन रॉक से जारी रहेगी. वो मुख्तलिफ सवालात का जवाब दे रहे हैं कि USAID पाकिस्तान में क्या कर रही है तालीम के शोबे में, सेहत के शोबे में, वाटर मैनेजमेंट, तवानाई और दूसरे तमाम शोबों में ये पाकिस्तान में USAID के डायरेक्टर से you stay in Pakistan. You must have traveled very widely in Pakistan, all 4 provinces, northern area, Kashmir. What's your take on that?
Well, my immediate reaction to that is Pakistan is a beautiful and diverse country. It is a very different country than the one that I expected when I first arrived. It's diverse in terms of its geography, in terms of its people, in terms of its culture. And it's made it a very, very interesting place. What I tell my colleagues sometimes is there isn't one Pakistan. It seems like there are multiple Pakistans all within one country.
Yeah, diverse culture, diverse languages, etc.
Yes.
You have traveled in various provinces. Which province you have found more attractive in terms of their culture, their traditions, their food, music, etc.?
Wow. That's very difficult to say because each has its own unique beauty. So it becomes very difficult to compare. For example, there are many parts of Punjab, that are very beautiful, that are culturally rich. On the other hand, I really enjoyed going to Karachi because even though it's the big, noisy city, it reminds me of my hometown of New York. And then on the other hand, when you go up to the north...
New York is very clean.
Yeah, well, not always.
Anyway.
But anyway, and then when you go up north and you have the hills and the mountains, it's geographically, it's very, very beautiful. So each region has its own beauty.
Right. The art and culture of Pakistan. You have some take on this? For instance, the painting, the music, the food, all these things.
Well, the food. I really do enjoy Pakistani food. I love biryani. My favorite is palak paneer. And I will miss the Pakistani food, the home-cooked Pakistani food when I leave. But I also like reading about Pakistani history. I'm a bit of a history buff, and I like to learn about the history. So I've read about Muhammad Ali Jinnah and the history of the creation of Pakistan and
the Pakistan movement.
Exactly, and the leadership throughout the 1960s and up to the present day, and it's very interesting.
You have visited northern areas, and which part of Pakistan is the most beautiful, exotic beauty?
You know, I have to tell you, in all honesty, I never made it to the northern areas.
Okay.
I was never able to get up there. I would have been prepared to say that that was the most beautiful part of Pakistan, based on all the photographs that I have seen. But you know, quite frankly, I think that the region here around Islamabad is beautiful. I really enjoy getting up in the morning and just seeing the Margala Hills, particularly on a clear day. It's lovely, and the weather is lovely. I have to say that I've enjoyed some of the road trips through Punjab. I think it's a very rich and green province. But
have you been to KPK and not the areas, the FATA areas?
I have only been to Peshawar. I have only been to Peshawar.
Right. The people.
Mm-hmm. Well, the people to me that's the best part of Pakistan, and I'll tell you why. I've been in the diplomatic service now for more than 2 decades. And I've worked.
This is your first appointment in Pakistan?
In Pakistan, yes. I've worked in Bangladesh, in India, in Afghanistan, but this was my first time even present in Pakistan. And I've worked in many countries, and I've met many different kinds of people. But I would have to say that Pakistanis are the most hospitable people that I have met in my more than 20 years in the diplomatic service. You meet new people and they invite you to their home for dinner. They take an interest in the health and well-being of your family. They truly treat you like a friend. And that is one of the most important things that I'll take away when I leave Pakistan.
Have you read some books which have been written, authored by Pakistanis, you know, in poetry or fiction?
Well, I have on my desk in my office, I have The Wandering Falcon by Jamil Ahmad. And the last time I traveled back to Washington, I was determined to read it on the airplane, except I forgot it and left it on my office. So this time I'm going to read it. But otherwise, I do follow and read some of the essays of Muhammad Hanif. Hanif.
Yes.
And although I've not read his books, I've heard of them, but I do enjoy his essays because they're often quite amusing.
Right. And the music, do you have any liking for the music, and particularly Pakistani music?
Well, I do like the music, but I don't particularly follow it, and I'm not knowledgeable about individual artists.
Right. You have some message for the Pakistani people while you are leaving and having spent 3 years. 3 years?
2 years.
2 years in Pakistan.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure and an honor to be your guest for the last 2 years. Thank you for inviting me into your home of Pakistan. It is a tour for me that I will never forget, both personally and professionally. I am very optimistic about Pakistan, not only because when you do development work you have to be an optimist, but I see a lot of potential, both human potential and potential with natural resources. Pakistan is making progress. It will continue to make progress. I'm sad to leave, but I'm very gratified to know that I and USAID have contributed to the betterment of Pakistan. And I hope to come back sometime in the future and to be able to go and visit the northern areas.
Thank you so much. नाज़रीन, आज इस प्रोग्राम में पाकिस्तान में USAID के डायरेक्टर जॉन रॉक हमारे मेहमान थे. उन्होंने गुफ्तगू की है बड़ी दिलचस्प, जहां उन्होंने पाकिस्तान की तरक्की के लिए USAID की कंट्रीब्यूशन या किरदार पर बात की है. उन्होंने पाकिस्तान के कल्चर, पाकिस्तान की मौसीकी, पाकिस्तान के जोग्राफियाई हुस्न और यहाँ के लोगों की आदात अतवार और उनकी मेज़बानी का भी तज़किरा किया है. इसी के साथ ये प्रोग्राम ख़त्म होता है. जावेद सिद्दीक़ को इजाज़त दीजिए. खुदा हाफ़िज़. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
You're welcome, and thank you too.
Thank you so much.